Here's the RTX 5080 in a mysterious Founders Edition. You're gonna plug in one cable for 1500 watts of juice, and the 9800X 3D is just destroying everything. It's so popular. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're gonna be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Friday, January 3rd, 2025. And we're gonna start off today reminding you that we do still have that giveaway going on right now for the 14900KF RTX 4090 PC. You can check it out over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/UFD Tech. We'd love to have you over there. You can find out the details of everything that's going on with that. And then secondly, we're gonna talk about the fact that the RTX 5080 smiling for the camera. We have a box of the MSI Gaming X Trio. We've already seen an image of a box for a Galax version of this card, but now we're seeing MSI's edition, which is confirming a lot of the things that we kind of have already speculated about this GPU. 16 gigabytes of GDDR7 memory. It's got a 256-bit bus, and it looks like a next-gen GPU, or it looks like a new GPU. The only thing that appears to be missing from this box that we saw on the previous box was a reference to neural rendering, which was expected to potentially be some new NVIDIA feature to justify why they're giving us less VRAM, but that doesn't appear to be present on the MSI box, so who knows if that's actually going to be something NVIDIA does, or if it's just like a buzzword marketing thing that's going to be put in some places but not others to just refer to its AI capabilities. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot still to be found out about the 50 series, which we're expecting Jensen to talk about this coming Monday, January 6th at his CES presentation. A couple of us will be in Vegas at that time for, I don't know if we'll be able to cover it live, but we'll definitely talk about it in Hot News on Tuesday for that. But in case all of this talk of new GPUs from AMD and NVIDIA has you itching, thinking maybe, hey, I should upgrade my computer, well then you should check out today's video sponsor, Falcon Northwest, the first company to build PCs specifically for gaming all the way back in 1992, being around longer than the vast majority of UFD Tech employees, still being independently owned and run by its founder. If you check out Falcon Northwest, you can make that PC your own, whether that's from picking out the specs that you want to making sure that you put custom artwork on it, which Falcon Northwest will have printed onto the actual chassis of the computer you want, like Reece's big mug being printed onto my Falcon Northwest Talon that I've been playing a lot of video games on. The Talon is the mid-tower chassis. It's what I've been gaming on. I've got a pretty good setup at home with the 14900K RTX 4090. But then in case you want a smaller form factor, they have the Frag Box with a little handle so you can tote it around to different LAN events, like NVIDIA's LAN thing that they're doing at CES as well. But in case you want to go even smaller, they have the Tiki, taking up the littlest footprint, making sure you aren't overwhelmed on your desk with all of the hardware that they stuff inside of that. We've given away several of those over our charity streams. They look gorgeous with the custom artwork that Falcon Northwest has been able to put on it, but they've also been powerhouses as well. And it's not just for gamers. Falcon Northwest also makes workstations. Their Threadripper workstation was rated one of PC Mag's best products of 2024. You get 3 years warranty with the PC and 1 year of overnight shipping for anything that they can't remotely support over the phone for you, which is something Falcon Northwest takes seriously, making sure you as a customer are taken care of. You know the issues that are going on, like instability issues. They're going to make sure that you are aware of it even before Intel tells the public that it's actually a problem. So if you're looking for a new PC, definitely check out Falcon Northwest. They're linked below in the description. You should click that, head on over to the site, and check out if one of their PCs is going to suit your needs. And who knows what 50 series GPUs are going to be placed in all these computers, and NVIDIA teasing us with a new little design of an RTX GPU. We're not quite sure what it is, but in their GeForce LAN 50 promo video, they had a very dark PC shown off where you can't actually see the GPU, but if you manipulate the image to brighten it up, you can see that that is not a Founders Edition that we've ever seen before, especially because it has two fans on the bottom. So there's some expectation that this could potentially be the 5070, 5060 reference model, making it so that it's only 2 slots. However, there have been times in the past where NVIDIA has done renders of Founders Editions that they then don't go on to sell, such as the 4060, I think, had a render at one point, and they don't have a Founders Edition for that one. But with the launch of the 50 series, we're expecting a lot of them to have that 16-pin power connector, but DIY Ape is expecting to just overhaul that no matter what, because their Back to Future or Back to the Future power standard has been iterated to be version 3.0, and that now includes a 50 50-pin power connector to give you 1500 watts of juice that's gonna be on the back of the motherboard. So DIY Ape has been partnering with Asus for their BTF connectors, BTF 3.0 having this 50-pin, as you can see right here. And the idea behind that is it replaces the 24-pin motherboard connector, it replaces the EPS connectors for the CPU, and then it also replaces the 16-pin power connector for the GPU. So you're getting the power completely delivered both over the PCI Express slot right there, but you can see that there's a little section that you slot in a BTF graphics card, and then you have no wires facing on the front of whatever PC that you're building. So up to 1500 watts being delivered through that 50-pin power connector, meaning that it's only going to be good for up to the 5090. 6090 is going to require a second one. But this is supposed to make it so that everything's just sleek and more minimal, making it so that you don't have as many things to fuss and muss around with, but it will require things like power supply manufacturers to adopt this standard, and then GPU manufacturers to put the BTF connectors on there. It's gonna require a whole new ecosystem. Whether or not this takes off, obviously we've had things like Project Zero from MSI, the BTF connectors from Asus. It's been here in drips and drabs. I'm not sure if it's gonna be the next big thing. It has been nice to see case redesigns to support it. It's been nice to see that there's at least some innovation taking place, but I don't know that the wires were bothering a lot of people, so I don't know if this is a problem that necessarily needs to be solved, but I'm intrigued to watch this path develop. Let me know if you're interested in these like back connector motherboards. Does this matter to you enough where you're going to be willing to spring for the more expensive options, or at least the more complicated route to get all of that put together? I want to hear from you down below in the comments while Reece tells you about the deals on how you can buy stuff.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. Happy Friday, everyone. Hope you guys had a good week, and I'll send you off into the weekend with some good deals. Starting off, we have this Epo Maker Shadow X gasket mount hot swappable wireless mechanical keyboard going for $42.99, making it $43 or 50% off. But then up next, we have this KTC 24-inch 1080p 400 hertz IPS gaming monitor, which is absolutely nutty. And you can pick one up for only $229.49, making it $50.50. And then lastly, this super sleek looking Gigabyte X870 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7 AM5 motherboard, which is also going for a very similarly priced $229.99, making it $60 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, if you're in the market for a new monitor, hopefully you didn't just get a great deal, because you might be itching to upgrade. Turns out panel manufacturers figured out how to put 240 hertz 4K into a 27-inch panel. So all of the major monitor manufacturers are coming out announcing their 27-inch 4K 240 hertz OLED monitors. MSI announcing theirs, Asus announcing theirs, as well as you had Samsung announcing theirs. And in combination with that, they're also announcing a 1440p 500 hertz OLED version. So that's being announced by multiple monitor manufacturers as well. We're expected to see this at CES DisplayPort 2.1a. It's got new OLED panel technology using tandem OLED. And you can see once one company figures it out, it all becomes available for the mass consumer. Let me know if this interests you by telling me down below in the comments. Well, it's clear, according to the consumer, that they're very interested in the 9800X3D. Mindfactory from Germany releasing the sales numbers on their 9800X3D, and it is selling like wildflowers. It's spreading like sunflower seeds. It is just doing numbers. So the reason this is notable is Mindfactory publishes public figures of how many they're selling. It is limited only to Germany, so it's a small section of the entire global market, but it helps us to understand at least enthusiast level trends, even if it's not the market overall. But enthusiasts look to be loving the 9800X3D. It sold 8,650 units, despite the fact that it hasn't been out for very long. But that number by itself doesn't mean a lot unless you have some comparison data. If they sold 8,650 9800X3Ds and they sold 50 million Intel processors, then what does it matter? Well, when you combine the rest of the 9000 series, such as the 9950X, the 9700X, and the 9600X, you slot them all together, they end up accounting for fewer total, you just combine all of those, fewer than the 9800X3D. So the rest of the 9000 series together combined is selling worse than this new X3D chip. The 9700X is the second best selling one, coming in with 2,500 units, but still nowhere near the 9800X3D. However, putting it into comparison with the total amount of units sold for the 7800X3D over the lifetime that chip has been out, it's at 78,420 sales. So the 9800X3D is currently currently only about 10% of the total sales units of the 7800X 3D, but it's been out for a significantly smaller amount of time. The 9800X 3D beating out even a lot of the Ryzen 7000 series CPUs that were available, outselling the 7700, getting close to the 7600, maybe not the 7700X just yet. It still has to about double its sales, especially with the stock issues. That's been difficult, but I think this is just a confirmation of what everybody has been thinking. The 9800X 3D at its $480 price point is providing tremendous value when it comes to gaming, and the sales numbers are there to back up that confirmation bias that we think AMD is doing well, and it looks like, yes, they are doing well. And if they had more stock, Mind Factory does allow you to place pre-orders even though they don't have the stock of the chips, so they've just kind of been selling through as the time's gone on. They don't have this thing where you can't order it just because it's not there, but it does appear like 9800X 3D is a huge hit, and you guys hit on a couple of notes in the comments yesterday. Let's see what you said. Garner Belay is saying a 24GB B580 might be a killer solution for lower cost video editing rigs with how much work Intel has done with Adobe over the years. And Xantham saying Intel cooking. Yeah, I think as long as the 24 gig versions like 350 or below, it's not a terribly expensive jump, maybe 329, then I could definitely see it being a great solution for people who need that extra amount of VRAM, whether that's for doing video editing or even running local LLMs on their machines while also doing things like video editing, just giving you the flexibility to utilize that VRAM. It could be nice. Then Artie Nowlin saying, casual gamer here, just upgraded to an RX 6750 XT from an RX 580 in October. No need to upgrade for another 3 years. You're on an RX 580 until October? You're not gonna upgrade until like 5-7 years from now. You have the patience of a tortoise. That is fantastic. You've held out quite a bit. I think that 6750 XT is gonna last you a while. That must have been a massive jump. Happy for you. And then Fire Of saying, it's a strange timeline when I am rooting on Intel for their GPU. And then Asherad saying, where is B770? I don't know. You know, I try to stay abreast of rumors, even if I don't bring them out here on Hot News, because sometimes there's like rumors and mumblings that are happening, but they can't quite be verified. So I don't like to put them in the episode, but I haven't heard an inkling of the B770. I don't know when the expected timeline is. I don't know expected performance. I don't even know if it's gonna exist. Like it could be very well possible that Intel decided the B580 is now what the 700 series was, and they're leaving room not for the B series, but for the C series. And that's just what they're gonna be doing. They're just releasing the mid-tier now, and there's no higher end GPUs for this generation. That could be possible, I don't know. And there hasn't been enough info out there for me to really even have a leaning towards what's going on. It's just, it's been very quiet on that front. But again, we're in January, Battlemage just launched. There's plenty of time for them to come out with a higher end GPU. So I'm not necessarily panicked or worried that they're not gonna do it, but it is curious that I have not heard anything just yet. And then Fulani saying, stop calling it Ti. My mind keeps hearing that hen before it. I'm gonna call it the Ti GPUs. I'm gonna call it Ti. I'm gonna mix them between Ti, doesn't matter. And your brain does what it needs to do. And if you can't handle it, stay out of the henhouse. I'll be back, not here, but hopefully in Vegas for more hot news on Tuesday. We'll likely be covering the RTX 50 series as well as anything that gets announced between now and then. We'll see you then, and have a nice weekend.